Hi, I'm Michelle and welcome to your Yin Yoga Challenge. We'll get started. Find your place on your mat. Very nice. Yin Yoga is about longer holds. So we'll be holding these postures for quite some time. As always, allow your breath to be your guide. Since I'm not there to actually watch you, make sure that if your breathing becomes uncomfortable, if you find that you're holding your breath or your breath is catching, then that is definitely a cue for you to either back out a little bit from the posture or come out of the posture altogether. And anything that we do, if it's not right for you today, then please take child's pose, take a shavasana, just do something that is not going to put you into pain, is not going to accentuate any discomfort that you might already have. And as we begin, also, something to keep in mind is the other yoga styles that we do are more yang yoga, so more of those more kind of active, sometimes more power type yogas. And that's not to say that yin is not challenging, it's extremely challenging. Sitting with yourself for a long hold is difficult, especially for those of us who also physically are not necessarily the most flexible people. Yin finds the connective tissues more than the muscles. So that is what we'll be doing, and we're going to get going. So bring yourself into a comfortable upright seated posture. And find a place that both sits bones are grounded into the floor. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Take low belly in, activate the pelvic floor, so really keep that energy in. That's why we keep that pelvic floor nice and tight, is trying to keep our energy in and moving upward to energize and also nourish our body as we find these shapes that we put ourselves in. Bring the shoulders away from the ears, ground sits bones into the floor. Gently tuck the chin. You're welcome to close the eyes if you'd like. Find your breath at the tip of the nose. Find that stillness in the body at first. Perhaps the mind will follow. Each inhale, elongate the spine, create more space between the vertebrae. With each inhale, each exhale, stay taller. And the feet are offset if lotus or half lotus is in your practice, and if your hips are saying yes, then go for it. Otherwise, we stay in this easy pose that is not necessarily easy. Next, exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Keep the sits bones on the floor. Tuck the chin to keep that spine nice and elongated. Yin yoga also focuses more on hip opening, more than anything else. Not to say that other body parts will not get love and lengthening and compression, but there's definitely an emphasis on the hips here. Each exhale, see if there's room to walk the hands a little bit further. Again, keep that chin tucked to keep that spine nice and long. Notice that the hip flexors are compressed in this posture. With this compression comes a slight restriction of blood flow. When we release the posture, we get fresh oxygenated blood moving back into that space. Breathe. Each exhale, see if there's any more room to bring that forehead any closer to the floor. It doesn't have to get there. Find that stillness, find that breath. Release the chin towards the chest without rounding the neck. Breathe. Breathe through some of the challenge that can come up here. Breathe through the mind chatter. Breathe through any judgment. Breathe through any expectation. And also breathe through any challenge in the body. We definitely want to pay attention to edge.
But we also want to gain the benefit, so we're going to move up towards that edge without crossing it. So the way that we know that we've crossed edge, physically, mentally, spiritually, etc., is that we react. If I try to walk myself out here physically and my knee says, oh my God, what are you doing? That's a reaction. If I walk myself out here and my knee is like, you know what, I haven't been here in a while. That's a response. We're okay with response. Few more breaths. Inhale yourself up nice and slow.
Slow and steady. Find those sit bones back on the floor. Bring the knees together. You let the hands help you. And windshield wiper. Between each yin posture, we want to find a counter posture. So since our legs and knees were out, we had that external hip rotation. Now we're going to look for that internal hip rotation. All right. Bringing your left foot in towards your inner thigh. Find that place that you can tuck your hand underneath that right leg. You can straighten the right leg, you can keep the knee a little bit bent. Again, we want to make sure that we're going to be addressing the hips here. Turn that upper body out. So I'm really taking my left ribs, opening them up to the sky, bring my left hand over towards my right toes. So here we're compressing this right hip as we lift the left rib cage away from the other hip. Breathe, keep the low belly in. You can look up towards the sky, you can look down towards the foot, whatever feels right on your neck. Sink. Each exhale, see if you can sink any further into that hip. Both sits bones stay on the floor here. Breathe. Inhale, pull yourself up with that upper hand. And slowly, we also have a little bit of a twist there. Anytime you twist the spine, you want to untwist it nice and slowly. So here, counter posture within the posture itself. Open up that left leg. Bring right leg in towards the inner thigh. Find the place that you can grab underneath that leg. Open up, so I'm really actually opening up my shoulder, opening up the chest up towards the sky. Lift that right hand and sink into that left hip. I'm actually also really paying attention, lifting my ribs away from my hip. You start to roll backwards, bring yourself forwards. Breathe. Again, notice the body, notice where the compression is, notice where any extension is. Inhale, bring that arm up, pull yourself up with that arm, let it do some work. Bring both legs down, up onto the knees, tabletop, just as a pass through. And again, if any of these postures make you want child's pose, then feel free to go into child's pose. Turn your toes under here. Knees can be about hip distance apart, or feet can be together, totally up to you. But turn those toes under and sit back onto your heels. Opening up the bottoms of the feet. Breathe. Pay attention to where the hips are. Hips are neither forward or back, neither bowing or tucking, neutral. We won't hold this pose too long because it can definitely be a little bit of a stretch, pun intended, for the bottom of the feet. Exhale, bring the hands down. Walk legs out, bring yourself up onto the toes, lower down slowly, chaturanga, bring yourself all the way to the floor, elbows stay in, release the toes. Open up the feet about mat distance apart. Elbows come under shoulders. And here we stay in Sphinx pose. Tuck the chin. Pay attention to the low back as well. If it feels that there's too much of an arch in the back, then walk the elbows out. This is going to be one of our longer holds. Breathe. Scan the body in this pose. Find if there's any effort anywhere. And invite yourself to release that effort. So with Yang, there's a lot of activity with Yang yoga. A lot of effort with Yin. Not only are the holds longer and we're looking for that connective tissue, we're also looking for release. Teaching our bodies, teaching our minds to release, to detach. Not in a callous way, but in a way that we're not wedded to the outcome. Breathe. Notice alignment here. Notice where the hips are. If you feel that you're rocking to one side or the other, invite that balance. Breathe. Next, inhale, walk the hands out a little bit. Then begin to gently press yourself up onto the hands for seal. Finding that place that there's no dumping in the low back, so you don't want that spine to be dumped on. You want the shoulders to stay nice and strong as well, which means they're moving away from your ears. Breathe. This is seal pose. Again, tuck the chin. If you want, you can actually totally release the neck, so you're looking down at your mat. Breathe. Shoulders stay away from the ears. Pay really close attention to the shoulders here. Pay close attention to the low back. If it feels like there's that dumping into it, walk the hands out or come back into Sphinx. Otherwise, breathe, release the neck. Inhale, bring the neck up slowly. Walk the hands under the body, curl the toes. Bring yourself up onto your knees. Walk right foot in front of you. Get up off that left kneecap. If you need something soft underneath the knee, feel free to put something soft underneath there. Coming up, bring the hands to the knees, the right knee. Again, sink into that right hip. Open up that left hip flexor as we compress the right one. Preparing here for dragon. Which is a preparation for pigeon. Exhale, bring both hands to the inside of that right knee. I'm going to actually turn and face you so you can see this. So I've got my right shoulder tucked in towards my right foot, my right knee. Sorry, this isn't mirroring for you. Come up onto the outer edge of that right foot and begin to drop your knee to the side. Again, pay attention to that left kneecap. Allow the right knee to drop out. If you need more, walk the hands a little bit forward. Begin to drop your elbows towards the floor. Breathe. You stay there. I'm just going to come back onto my mat because it's more comfortable under my foot. A few more breaths. Inhale, bring that knee in towards that shoulder and actually squeeze the knee into the shoulder. Counteract what we just did. Bring that movement towards the midline of the body from the inner thigh. Release. Bring that right foot back.
Sit down, child's pose, just briefly. Inhale, bring that right foot right back up in front. Sink onto that knee. Pardon me, those are some chimes letting me know what time it is. Sink onto that knee, release the neck. Lift yourself up. Walk hands to the side. Again, bring that right foot back. Counterbalance with a couple breaths in child's pose. Bring yourself back up. Bring that left foot forward this time. Come up off that right kneecap. Sink into that left hip. Open up the right. Paying attention to those hips. Bring the left and right hand on the inside of that knee. Tuck that right left shoulder in. Release the left foot out. You can walk that in a little bit if you need to. Release that foot. Sink. If you need more, you walk those hands up further. Bring the elbows to the floor. Release the neck. Dragon pose. Keep that low belly tight. Few more breaths. Inhale, bring that knee in, squeeze that shoulder, counteract the pose. Bring that foot back, sit in child's pose for a breath. Inhale down, exhale right back up. Bring that left foot in front, allow the body to sink in on it. Allow yourself to let that leg hold you up to find that compression. Breathe. Working up to butterfly versus pigeon. Bring that foot back down. Find child's pose. Exhale down this time. Inhale up. Bring the feet in front of you. Sit down on the sits bones. Few breaths here to close out our practice before you find Shavasana. Bring the feet together. Hold underneath the toes. Sole of the feet are together. Invite the knees out by squeezing the glutes. Exhale, lead forward with the chest, and then release the neck. Round the back. Breathe. A lot of external rotation in the hip here. A lot of compression in the hip flexors. Allow the head to sink towards the toes. Ten more breaths. You stay there 10 breaths. And after that 10th exhale, on your 11th inhale, bring your feet back to that easy pose. Place hands behind you. Lift up onto the knees. If this is successful, just a little bit of a counter pose here. A lot of forward folding. Counteract it with the back bend. You can keep the hips on the floor if you'd like to. Open the chest. Exhale, release. Bring your legs out. Lower yourself down, let your abs do some work here. Release the hands, palms facing up for uplift down. For grounding, gently close the eyes. You stay in Shavasana. You take rest, that is where we find growth. Find that release. Release the mind, release the body, release everything. Find that trust that the earth will hold you up. Find your breath. You remain in your rest posture as long as you need. And thank you so much for allowing me to practice with you and do this Yin challenge with you. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste.